All right, what's going on, guys? My name is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. Today, we've got my Rock Pirates RC Rum Runner chassis. This one's in silver carbon fiber, and then it's also got rear steer. This is a Class 3 truck, so it's on Capra axles with rear steer. Super excellent performer. I was sitting in my room earlier deciding what I wanted to run for this video. I had some time to go make one, and you got to look around the room and be like, what haven't I made a video on in a while? So I decided that I want to go run my local hard lines with this truck. So this video is going to be like running sketchy lines, running just really difficult technical ones, and it should be a lot of fun. So we're going to grab the controller. It's my Radiolink RC8X. Been having a lot of luck with that controller. I want to try it with my MOA to where I have to mix stuff and see what kind of features I can throw into that before I do an actual review, but that's coming. So far I really like it. It's very simple and easy to use. But we got it hooked up with this guy today, which means I'm running my rear steer with it. The potentiometer placement on that is pretty good. It's not quite what I'm used to with my FlySky GT5, but it's absolutely, like, it works really good. So let's get out on the trails, see how this truck does on my hard lines. All right, so here we go, headed up into one of my known hard lines. I did change wheels out on this truck. I like to switch my wheels and tires around a little bit. These came off of my Ty Pro buggy. These are my cut and shut Proline Swampers. I turned them into a 5.35 tall tire and a 2.2 bead, but they're narrow like the 1.9s are instead of fat like the 2.2s. This one has always been really tricky to get the entrance right. And it's got a lot to do with how it climbs this left wall. And not letting it climb too high. That's actually looking really good right there. But width is very important here. Okay, we're set up well. Come on, truck. Just trying to get that, that's it. Trying to get that front tire to scrub along instead of dive down or climb too high. So we may even take a little back up to try and get the rear set up how we want. Now as that right rear starts to come up, we got to turn driver in the front just a bit to counteract it pressuring the truck around. There's a lot of binding going on, but these Reef servos can take it. Now I don't want to drop my front too fast either. Keep the rears balanced. This is a really tricky one here, and this truck honestly did it really well right there. Running plastic Capra axles on this guy. No, we lost the rear. I've done stuff like this in my real buggy and it's not easy. But luckily that Coyote Grande body is just gonna let us squeeze through. Not too much scratching noises coming from there. Just barely touching the wall. And then it's just wide enough that we can get down on the bottom of that. Our left rear tire is getting into that wall a bit, causing us some issues. Excellent run right there. Really happy about that. Got the Holmes Revolver 1800 kV Team Spec, and then I've got a Holmes V3 Crawlmaster ESC in there as well. This ESC really works well with the Team Spec 1800. I've tried it with different revolvers and not been as happy, but with this combo, it's super smooth and works really well. Those secure ESCs are excellent. I'm curious what would happen if I put one with this motor. The thing is, I soldered it direct. So to do that, I'd have to unsolder it from this ESC, solder it to the secure, do all that. And it works so good as is, I don't really care. Of course, our friend Sydney's out here with us today. She's joining me while I crawl. It is nice and cool out here, so I don't have to worry about her burning her paws, and it's also cold enough that there's not issues with snakes, so I don't have to worry about her getting in trouble with snakes. So it's a good time of year for her to come join me. It's a good chance we're gonna flip right here. So why don't we try and settle this front down a little different. I should be able to bring it down here instead. Still gonna roll. That's a ridiculous down though, so no worries there. It got the hard line I wanted. You know, it's funny, hard lines can really be found anywhere. I park right there, and there's been this one. It's really fun. I've had a lot of fun trying this line with a lot of different trucks. And it's the double ledge on the left side that's really hard to navigate. Because as your rears start coming up, you gotta fight that, and then you gotta fight the next ledge with the front. I've done this drag axle, it's extremely difficult, but it is possible. So it's really just about tire placement and timing on turns. I think we're into the chassis a bit there. Just small reverses to try and correct where we're at. So then all 4 tires are gonna climb in a bit of a crab up the ledge. There it is. That went super smooth. See if we can't get our rears up nice and smooth as well. Using our 4-wheel steer to counteract each other. Beautiful, super quick work on that one. I've sat here and struggled before, but today we got it. All right, so this is a series of obstacles that takes you out over to a cliff edge, which is just a super sketchy line, and if you don't trust your rig, you should not be driving up where I'm going. Okay, bushes are forcing us to float some tires where we don't want to. Woo-hoo-hoo. Don't go down there, buddy. It's a big drop. Yeah, I do remember having to do this last time. I just wanted to try that outer line. And you gotta go bushwhacking, which it appears this shrub has grown a bit since the last time I did this. The last video I drove this line, which was the last time I drove it, was when I first got my RC Speedy A1 buggy. And I just went and drove it through some crazy lines. And that's been a while since I've owned that car. I did sell it a while back. Really fun car. I like the chassis. That's my pick of an RC Speedy chassis. And one of my local buddies here had one for sale with all the right parts on it, so I bought it. There we go. Working our way up. Oh yeah, that's right. And then the next little V-notch pinch thing got really weird with the A1. I've forgotten a bit of how this goes. It's been a while. Now this truck's got a much more aggressive chassis setup. Forward skid, crazy amounts of forward weight. We'll see if it'll hold the line a little better. Come on, Swampers. Just trying to shift that front end over, and I don't want it to. It's close. There it is. Nice, steady, slow crawl. Perfect. That's what we needed. Well, I think we can all agree we're at the top of the hill, right, guys? This is not a good place to go. Excellent view. Our line is going to be to drive down around that corner and then come up where that grass is right in front of Sydney and crawl back out the top. This is a big drop, so you don't want your truck to fall. Working our way down the drop. Last time I did this, I had dig, so I could lock up the rear as a brake. Let the suspension settle there a little bit. You can always use your steering to shift the weight around and help your suspension settle. It's up to you to wheel enough to know when and where to use that. Okay, the left rear should sink in here shortly, and that's where we want to time our turn. We are going to need a reverse. Okay, I think she's got it. It's very side-hilled right now. Just watching that front left to see if it starts to unload. Good geometry here. The car is settling how I expect it to. Taking our time, letting this thing work how it should be. Try and get that right rear on the ledge. Okay, sweet. A whole different perspective for you guys. So, there we go. Side hilling through and around. We're gonna go below the ledge and then we'll work our way back up. This is the part of the line where it just kind of gets insanely stupid. I'm standing on this little ledge, like 12 feet up off the next ledge down. Just dumb. Don't recommend this at all. But it's been a while and I know that it's possible. The old A1 got it done. Can this Rock Pirates chassis? I'm quite confident it can. SL3D squid inserts keeping us steering where we want right now. Okay, the front end is starting to unload because I was trying to turn uphill. I would really like that front tire to bite more than it is right now. I think it's got it. The low speed control on the Holmes coming in clutch right now. I think we got it. Ridiculous here. Because if it rolls, you lose your truck. It's done. There's no like, oh, I'll try again. You're breaking stuff, which could include the chassis itself. Like you're destroying stuff at that point. So now we made it around to what seems like the easy part, which is the climb. Finally not going downhill or side hill. I've done a lot of climbs. You end up having to push into that right side. I'm actually having some issues here with my hand position on my RC8X. This is not looking good. Yeah, it's letting go. We're losing our hook on the front. Now I do specifically remember having to try this line a few times with my A1. So maybe this guy's got enough skid clearance I can stay low on the rock. With the portals and the skid, should be fine. There we go. Our belly's clear. The A1 couldn't do this line. It had to go up over the right edge. Now I'm trying to get it to rotate and turn right. But it's not finding the bite here. I also can't quite see what I need to see here. it just keeps falling along this crack. So I need to move where I'm at and get a better view. Okay, so here's the top view of what's going on. What? I'm trying, maybe use a reverse to try and get the front up. Feels like we're on our skid now. I'm using the rear to try and get that thing to rotate and push up. It's just not doing it, and then it diffs out in the front, and we lose forward progress. Now our front's hanging way off the edge. And when it gets bound like that, your tires will load up, and then sometimes it'll just like spring forward when it finally releases. So I don't want to do that in this situation. We may need to figure out another way up. We've got to get our front up. So let's give this a reset, where we can actually see what's going on the top side. Forgive my dog panting in your ear. She thinks it's a good idea to sit here and pant right next to my head. So this is kind of the original line we tried, was bringing the front up, but then the rear rotates the front off. Yeah, it just slowly works its way out. So let's or what changed between the first times I made it up and currently. Let's try this, see if we can get the rear positioned higher first. So he just drags that rear end in. There it is. That's what we needed. So now what I want to do is try and get that right rear into the rock to help us pivot. So we can get up here, back further up, and then turn the rear into that undercut as much as possible, in hopes that once it hits that wall, it creates resistance and helps the truck pivot around. But it's not really getting the bite that I need. We're probably gonna run out of battery soon. This guy's running on a small battery right now. Now we got the front tire up. That's what we've needed this entire time. It should have it right here. There it is, guys. My absolute sketchiest line I've done. And she pulled it off. Just took some work. Moving on to our next line. This one has proven to be a real challenge with a lot of cars. The first truck I really tried this with was my VRD kit. Well, that's not even the hard part. Here, Rum Runner, what are we doing? Let's get out of there. Now we got our fronts up. Let's get the rear up. Oh, losing the front end. Okay, let's bump up this, see what happens. All right, first bump attempt. She got it. Rear steer helps so much through here. I've driven drag axle stuff. It's fun though, you gotta shimmy and work its way across. But this is quite the angle. It's cool that it sticks to this. Lots of traction on this rock face. And then we work our way around. Now starts the hard part. I like to keep working the truck, the rear end of the truck down at this point. Okay, that's enough. So let's give ourselves just a little more angle where we're almost driving uphill. Rear steer angle really affects the entire direction the truck wants to go, especially once things get steep. If I turn down, it's gonna try and pull that front end downhill. If I turn up, it's gonna push the front end uphill. So it sounds simple, but like there's times where you're steering opposite and you're like, why won't this turn right now? It's because the rear has the control of the truck because the weight of it's on it. I think she's gonna pull through. No, she's gonna let go. Just about had it. I pushed it just a little too far compared to where it should have gone. Got a honeybee checking out the ding dong truck. Just checking me out now. So let's get a bigger bite out of this front. Got that skid clearance. Skid's well off the rocks. It's actually just my lower rear links, which are high clearance. And we're gonna turn that rear up to help get some clearance for that other rear tire to come up. Now the challenge here is to get the truck up with both rears on top of the ledge, which we just did. That's the hardest part. Oh man, it's about to let go. Let's back up, just barely. Or you know what? That'll work. Picking up my front end, it's gonna settle. There we go. So getting the whole truck to fit up here is the challenge. We gotta get this rear tire up to the next ledge. But that front left starts climbing too high and then it tries to drive under the rear. The rear tries to drive under the vehicle and roll it. This is really like a sequenced obstacle. You gotta go like stage 1, stage 2. Look at that SL3D. As I'm turning, it's not letting my tire fold on itself, so it's creating a bind in the suspension and picking up my tire. So it's actually, this is one of the few instances where I would actually want the tire to give just a little bit, and these squids don't give. 98% of the time, I love how they don't give, but right here is one of the few instances I wish they might let go just a little. Ooh, that's looking good. That's looking, oh, we lipoed right there, man. Come on. Ah, always right when you need it the most. Shit. There we go. About to get those rears up. There they are. Now crab back up. Just take just a little bit of there it is. Such a delicate line, man. This one's tricky. It really is. Because that front left starts to bite and then it just tries to go vertical and pick up my front right, which kills the line. Unless it'll stay planted. It's going to stay planted this time. Now the rear's trying to drive under the truck and will roll us over. So we got our front right in a good position. Look at that SL3D fighting. That's it. It's got the pull. And slightly straighten my front tires. Come on. It's got the wall. There it is. All right, now this is the ultimatum here. You got to get up this final ledge. Usually it takes a bump. We'll see if we can find a place for it to crawl. wrapped the outside of this ledge before. Just trying to slowly work over there. Come on. Swamper lugs are biting. Come on. That's it. Crawl it. Come on. Yeah. One of the few times I've actually crawled it. I think I've crawled it once before, but here we are at the top again. This line has only been conquered by one of my other trucks, and that was my deluxe Capra. I still have that deluxe Capra, by the way. It's just, I've been playing with the MOAs and Sportsman, and the deluxe Capra currently requires loaded dice, wheels, and tires. And I've just been leaving them on the Sportsman and MOA for a bit. But I've got a narrower hub set up on it coming. I shouldn't say coming, just in the video it will be coming. I already have the hubs. And then, yeah, we narrowed it up, and then it's dedicated loaded dice now, which is how the original videos were. I just need to get its own set of loaded dice, wheels, and tires. But those are not inexpensive, so. So this one you need reach. I've actually got a pile of dust because a full-size rig came through and tore this rock up a good bit. It might work out to our advantage here because it used to be super undercut, and now we got a bit of a dirt ramp for it. So let's give it some throttle. It's gonna take a good bump to get up this. Okay, we need it to hit square. That's about square right there. So as far as I dare go back, we're just gonna hammer on it and then turn slightly left as we go. Unfortunately, that line is super difficult and not looking good for this truck, so we're gonna take a bypass on it today. So this little crack right here is one of the nastiest cracks in this area. But it's a down and back. It doesn't lead anywhere, so you get to drive down it and then you get to drive back up it. And it's usually the way back up. On the first pinch on the way back up, you get really, really wadded up in there. It totally depends on your track width as to how mean it gets. Looks like this guy's gonna squeeze down through the bottom. It might not do it on the way back. But as the rear's fighting through, it does weird things with the fronts too. A bunch of overdrive can kill you here. Getting some scratches on those Shift RC 2.2 rings. The beadlock rings I'm using here are from Shift RC, and then the wheels are 2.2 Vanquish. So the shift rings work on the Vanquish 2.2s. The wheels themselves I custom narrowed by taking a set of Integy wheels that were 2.2s. They had the same back half bolt pattern, but they were a narrow wheel. And then the shift brass rings for the shift wheels also fit in these. So I have brass rings in my Vanquish 2.2s that are narrow. One of the only narrow machete sets that exist. The only ones I know of, but I would bet somebody's done it. And then we got the scale hardware that is well protected with the shift rings now. The Vanquish rings are horrible with their scale ring hardware because the ring hardware sticks out and just digs into the rocks. But these shift rings protect the hardware, so it grinds along the smooth ring face instead of the hardware. So it's a lot better for performance and looks cool. Okay, this is where things get tricky. Our track width might just be right here. Oh, that front caught the back edge of that. And the rear's falling off. Like I say, one of the nastiest spots I know. Yep, we lost the rear. Let's try this again. See if we can stay balanced. I can't even get the truck out. There we go. Specifically, as soon as those rears start to pinch in, you got to turn just right and time it just right on the fronts. This is a tricky climb. This is definitely one of the nastiest cracks over here. So let's keep the driver's side a little bit higher this time. Running out of servo in the front. And now the front's trapped. Rear's trapped. Got it. Got it. It's just a bindy one, man. It just bites onto your truck. Does not let go. Oh, don't do that. Okay. Just one of the most abusive cracks over here, I should say. Like, there's others that are very technical and hard to drive, but that one's just mean, and it's always mean. First found that with my Capra. And then of course that leaves 14, which we could give a poke at, but we may not make it today. That's one of my hardest lines ever. Which, by the way, is right here. I have a video on this when I drove it like 2 years ago. I had spent days and days trying this. And the hardest part for me was I wanted to record a clean run through. So every time I would crash and fall in the bottom of it, I would fully reset and take another shot at it. Nice little float across that. I don't know if the rock in the bottom is in the right spot. May actually need that in a different spot. Okay, keep the passenger front up. Yeah, that rock in the bottom needs to be different. So without this rock, it's straight up impossible. But the rock is actually to bridge you across that. That's what it's there for. And even with that rock there, this line is just about impossible. So I don't care about my whole rock stacking rule, because it does not make it easy. It does not pave a road. It simply makes it possible to do this, which is like a 1 in 100 shot possible. Keep the passenger front up. You can't lose it. Okay. Which, that's pretty hard there. That's about 1 in 10 tries. The next spot is the 1 in 100 spot. There it is, rear fell down in and came up. So you got to be just wide enough with just tall enough of a tire to make it through this spot. Oh dear. We Fell a little uncontrolled there. Maybe able to back up just a bit. I guess the body, the nose of this body is different dimensions than a Capra hood, because my Capra hood didn't really get in the way, but this hood sure is. Like, I gotta dump my tire in. Yeah, this truck doesn't fit, so that's a problem. Not much I can really do about that. Maybe, maybe not. There we go. Okay. There we go. I gotta get my thumbnail here real quick, guys. All right. Keep working our way through. The rear falls off and upsets the entire thing. Weight balance here is gonna kill me. Yep. I'm also gonna burn up a servo doing this. Come on. Servo's getting real tired of my bullshit. That's it, that's it. Come on, truck, we got this, come on. Come on, truck, we got this, come on. Dude, we can do it. Let's do it again. I'm gonna burn up a servo. Come on. Come on. Don't you blow an axle right now. Guys, here we go. Let's freaking go. Third vehicle I have to do that line. The deluxe Capra did it, but it was big. Long wheelbase, bigger tires. I finally did it without dig. And I got the drop. Once I reset the rock, I got the drop first try. That was pretty decent. That 777 was hating life. So is the Holmes revolver. I'm sure all my electronics are cooked after this, but I love it when I can make that line. One of the absolute hardest spots I've ever crawled. Now we just gotta ride it on through. Oh, driving under ourselves a bit. Hell yeah, man. Rock Pirates joining the very exclusive club of cars to have made that line. I only know one other person who says he's done it, but I wasn't there when he did it, so. I'm not saying he didn't, I'm just saying that I wasn't there. Hell yes. Get some. And not only that, a truck that's painted as a joke. What a weapon. Rock Pirates Rum Runner chassis. All right, friends, we did it again, this time with the Rum Runner. I just checked all my electronics. My front servo is maybe 80 degrees. The rear one's like a little over air temperature. My ESC is room temperature, and so is my motor. I'm actually blown away because I was really pushing on that thing right there. I guess maybe just the small battery was what was giving up on us. These are 2 direct power servos, and then also trying to power that Holmes V3. It's only a 700 milliamp battery. Maybe we were getting close to a brownout where it just didn't have the power to push it through like a bigger pack would, where that would heat up all our electronics. But my steering servo still works. Shout out to Reefs. Like I say all the time, it's because I wedge my trucks into stupid spots and drive like an idiot. That'd be a prime example of doing that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Our Rock Pirates Rum Runner, the kit is fantastic. It works really good. It can bolt right up to Capra axles or F10 axles. It works excellent with as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the links down below. I will link to all my friends that I've mentioned in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the hard lines. I'm pretty stoked right now. It's been a while since I drove those lines, and she did me proud. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Keep the rubber side down.